Daniel Ricciardo is certainly having a hard time this season. Not only has he not secured any win, but he's most likely out of an F1 seat. The 33-year-old was once one of the most promising drivers out there, and now he's been sacked from McLaren. But all is not lost because rumors are suggesting a move to Mercedes. How did he respond to them? Let's find out. First up, Ricciardo responds to the Mercedes rumor. Although the Australian's most likely out of an F1 seat, he may still be in the paddock next season. It won't be a first-team driver though, because Mercedes is supposedly interested in making the current McLaren driver their reserve for next season. That would most likely mean that he would be in the German team's garage on the Grand Prix basis, just like how de Vries currently is. When the 33-year-old asked whether the rumors were true, the Italian Grand Prix retiree admitted that he's keeping every option open. He stated, "No comment, just kidding. The truth is, I'm keeping every option open for, as I said, not only next year, but for the future. I still don't know what next year looks like. If this does happen to be the case, then the Aussie would spend a lot of time with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. That might just be the inspiration he needs to start winning again." But right before that, he also did state that he's not moving to Mercedes. So what's it gonna be? Guess we'll have to wait and find out. And it won't be that bad because he could eventually be promoted to a race seat if Hamilton decided to walk away from the sport before the 2024 season. The problem is, he's old. He's not as old as Hamilton, but still, he's 33. Even if he does wait for the Briton to retire, he won't have many years of racing left in him. And although the Honey Badger is a great driver, he's just not great enough to fill in Hamilton's shoes. Up next, what does Hamilton think about this move? Hamilton is one of the oldest and greatest F1 drivers out there. He's won 7 world championships and broken many records, so you know, people tend to pay heed to his opinion, and so do we, because how he feels about his potential teammate is important. How does he feel? Well, he feels that the Aussie is far too talented to occupy the role of a reserve driver. The 7-time world champion believes that Danny Ric had earned the right to be on the grid, and the Brit even stated that the Aussie had managed to buy him. He'd certainly have a spot in 2023. Pretty confident about our negotiation skills, huh? Seems like winning Grand Prix is just one of Lewis's many talents. Talking to the press, Hamilton made it clear that the driver should be racing next season no matter what, and that he's just too talented not to be on the grid. According to him, Honey Badger should be amongst all the other F1 drivers on the track, but that doesn't mean that Hamilton wouldn't want him at Mercedes. He made clear that it would be great to have the Silver Arrows team, but the third role is not best for this guy. Moving on, what does his future look like? The conclusion seems to be pretty clear here. Daniel Ricciardo's days in Formula 1 appear to be numbered, with the ongoing McLaren star still searching for a 2023 seat, and it's not going to be easy. His options are thinning by the second, because Nyck de Vries' impressive debut at the Italian Grand Prix has put the Dutchman on Alpine's, AlphaTauri's, and Williams' radar. Chances are, Pierre Gasly is leaving AlphaTauri for Alpine, and then de Vries will move to the Red Bull sister team alongside Yuki Tsunoda. Oh yeah, he got a contract extension, so more on that at the end of the video. That means that Nyck leaves his reserve driver role at the Silver Arrows, and since that position is now open, it's increasingly starting to look like Ricciardo might fill it. But then again, it doesn't seem like he wants to do that. Williams appears to be waiting for Alpine to make their decision because they're letting Nicholas Latifi go and need someone to replace him. But the problem is, they already have Williams Academy driver Logan Sargent on the list. Amidst all this chaos, one team seems to have a spot open. Haas, the American bottom tier team, doesn't have a second driver for next season. Hence, Haas appears to be Ricciardo's best chance to remain in the sport, but that's only if they don't retain Mick Schumacher, which would be really nice since he's a promising driver. But as far as Haas is confirmed, Ricciardo has held conversations with Gunther Steiner. However, so have Antonio Giovinazzi and Nico Hülkenberg. So Haas is not a sure shot. Unfortunately, his future so far looks bleak and chaotic. Lastly, a sad realization. Daniel Ricciardo is going through a sad realization right now. Unfortunately, the Honey Badger is prepared for a year out of the sport, if that's what it comes to. He's certainly accepted that he could be forced into a long year hiatus. However, when he was talking to the media, he claims that he was completely okay with that. He stated that he and his team won't be doing everything they can do to ensure he's in the next season, because some options might end up putting him on the grid, but they won't be his best options, especially if he's considering a future in the sport. After all, it was kind of his constant team hopping that led him to where he is today. As much as we like this guy, we have to admit he made some bad decisions jumping from Red Bull to Renault, then from Renault to McLaren, rather than sticking with one team and growing with them. And yes, if he was in Red Bull, he'd be living under Max's shadow, but that would also mean he'd easily be a contender for second on the Drivers' Championship list, and would also end up on the podium a lot more. It wouldn't have been the best of outcomes, but it's a lot better than where he is now. He stated that this year has been challenging and he wants to only be on the grid if he can enjoy it and thrive in an environment. He finished his remark with the statement, "I don't want to just jump into a car for the sake of it." In other news, and that's that. As far as Danny Ric's response to the Mercedes rumor and his prospects are concerned, let's take a couple minutes to get up to speed with all the other developments happening in the sport. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos just like this one. First of all, a woman F1 driver is long overdue. Jamie Chadwick is a two-time W Series champion and she's extremely close to securing her third title in Singapore this weekend. She's long been touted as someone who could break into F1. There's no rule preventing women from driving in the sport, yet we don't see any. That's because A, it's a boys club, and B, women are discouraged from motorsport from the beginning. But Jamie Chadwick is eyeing an F1 spot within 5 years, and if she's successful, we'll start to see more and more women in the sport. Despite her success, however, she has yet to set up to F3 and F2, but she's prevented from doing so because of a lack of funding. Good luck, Jamie. Oh, and congrats on almost mathematically winning the W Series. Again, let's learn more about how Verstappen might win the title. Jamie Chadwick isn't the only one who might secure a title in Singapore. It seems that Max Verstappen might also be declared the 2022 world champion. Given that he wins the race, some of the folks face a little bit of misfortune. The Red Bull driver has the opportunity to seal his second title in the next race, which will be the earliest coordination in 2 decades. However, to do so, he must outscore Ferrari's Charles Leclerc by 22 points, his mate Sergio Perez by 9 points, and Mercedes' George Russell by 6. The latter two seem doable, but he may have a hard time outscoring Leclerc. Even if Verstappen wins, chances are the Ferrari star won't be ending the race outside of the top 5. Finishing up, Yuki Tsunoda secures the AlphaTauri contract. The Japanese youngster will remain in F1 with Red Bull's sister team for another year. The Italian team has confirmed his contract. Tsunoda, who's a part of the RBR Young Driver program and backed by engine supplier Honda, is currently in his second season with the team. His future beyond this season has been questioned earlier this year, but luckily for him, those rumors have been put to rest. So that's one driver they've got figured out. What are they going to do if, and it's getting more likely by the day, Pierre Gasly leaves? At first they were looking at Colton Herta, who they also do have Nyck de Vries on their radar. As we mentioned earlier in the video, we can't wait to see how the 2023 grid ends up looking. That's a wrap for this video, my friends. What do you folks think is the best move for the Honey Badger? Should he sit the next season out while he thinks about his future? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.